Red Road Project is an anti-substance abuse program created by our chiefs in 2012, which the philosophy of the program is that we live our life aligned with the Creator, and we live it on a sacred path. And so a lot of what we do is we work with the youth within our communities who are chosen by their directors or they're chosen by their principals to lead the program for a year. And they learn a lot about their culture and who they are, because we believe that cultural identity plays a big part in combating substance abuse. We have our elders and our cultural camps throughout the year. So throughout the year we have our culture camps, and we invite our elders to come in and to teach the youth about who they are through one of the activities that they do is learn how to build a teepee and how to build a sweat lodge, and then they go and have a sweat lodge ceremony. Recently we took them out and had taught them how to go ice fishing, and just bringing these opportunities in with the youth to learn about who they are from the rich resources of which we have in our communities who still carry these teachings. I think it's an opportunity for those who haven't had the opportunity to do so, and also gives an opportunity to youth to learn about who they are, but also to become leaders within their communities, to encourage those who do not know about their culture, to encourage them that it is okay to learn about it, and it's okay to be taken part of that journey to carry that on for our future generations. And so it's creating leaders within our communities to create ourselves stronger, and bridging that connection between the youth and the elders is a powerful thing in itself. Being witness to the connections and the relationships that we build with these students. And so how I measure success is their character and them still building on that journey of which they started from being on the Red Road Project, and taking that within themselves and to continue to learn in their lifelong journey. You'll see people who are powwow dancing, you'll see people who are now comfortable regularly going sweats, or you see people who are now comfortable to approach an elder, or people inquiring more about basket making, or who feel encouraged, even for myself too, like I'm a coordinator, but I feel more encouraged now to be able to go ice fishing, because I've learned from the people who are the best at doing it within our community, and know the exact protocol and respect for the animal. I really enjoy seeing the youth getting together even after they're done with the program, and they're still friends after not being part of the group for a couple years. So it's those lifelong relationships that they build amongst each other is really nice to see, because that's what's going to help them as well in part of their journey of walking on the Red Road. Is because when you walk on the Red Road in these times of days, it's a very it's not the most busiest road to walk. It can be quite lonely because of what youth are facing today, because everyone in that age is getting into drinking and is getting into drugs, and so it's nice to see that they're able to support one another on their journey, and to be able to feel encouraged to continue on. In my opinion, Indigenous education is concepts of the reflections of who we are, and to be able to feel encouraged and proud to be able to teach that within our children, or to our children, and within our schools, and to be able to say, you know what, who we are, there is nothing wrong with it, and to open our eyes to our world view of who we were and who we are today, and to be able to put them together. Indigenous education to me is being able to live through that in the biggest and best potential, but to be inclusive and encompassing of every aspect of who we are today. But that also, if you were to look at that in a model, I see a circle, and the way I can think of it, and the teachings that we learned from the Red Road Project, is the four directions, and everyone who has a role. There's the East, who represent like the babies, and like the children, small children, and in the South, who represent the youth, and the West, who represent the adults, and the North, who represent the elders. And when you're able to fulfill all the roles and all the teachings within all of these cycles, with all these directions, that is Indigenous education. That is knowing how to, where to, and how was in that whole cycle of life, because that is what it's all about. And so when we indigenize our education, it's about being able to fulfill who we are as people, and to not to conform to the ideas of what may have worked for another culture, because it doesn't, and it hasn't, and it won't. I would like to see, I guess, to be in a sense of a visionary, I guess, like it's like I see sort of um, a collective of people just to gather around and say, this isn't working, and we need to find a way to make it work. And so, I think it's about that. I'm trying to find the word. It's, I don't want to say like ruin, but like it's well, in order to transform into something new, we need to be able to have a steady foundation to clear, and to be able to build new. And so I believe if we could come together as many nations across Canada, um, it'd be nice to see how everyone's teachings can come and formulate something that'll work, that is more holistic for everyone. And how I'd like to see education change in the future is to be able to be more inclusive, more loving, more family oriented, more nurturing for the child, because a lot of how I see in my experiences from being a student and also working in the school is that there's a whole institutionalized concept, and that is what we know, and that's the standard. But I know that there is a lot of nurturing that goes on within the school, because there are Indigenous teachers within the school, and like let's say Eskizoni, who are able to take their teachings to teach the children, to be that nurturing person, because they're with them for a long time in a day. So that's what the child needs to help them to feel comfortable and to feel strong and proud enough to learn about whatever they need to learn in their education. So I guess what I want to say is that if we truly want to create change, and to create positive change within our education, then we must not lead ourselves in fear, but to be able to speak truthfully and be proud of everything that we are every step of the way. I really stick to the four directions, like your resources are within your communities, and if not, then there's communities elsewhere. And I think this will be great for that, because we're part of that circle of resources. Elders who are great for help within our cause. I have adults who are great resources. I have youth who are great resources. And we have children who come and they just bring joy when we give them t-shirts, or we give them promotional items, and them being encouraged. They're part of that circle too. They're the future. So if we're able to see that and to find and map out within this model of who our resources are, then that's the best way we can do to figure out what we need to do. Because what it's about is our family of who we are, and our language, Mi'kmaq, roots from the word family or kin. So that's the way we see it. We're going to treat each other as one big family, and when we need help, then we're going to figure out ways and the resources that we have within ourselves, within that kinship, to ensure that we can continue on our journey.